Welcome to History of World War II. Today talking about World War II fighter aircraft. Imagine a single plane, a lone wolf in the sky, suddenly changing the entire course of a battle. Now, picture thousands of these incredible machines flashing in the skies over Europe and the Pacific. World War II wasn't just fought on the ground. It was a desperate, brutal, and breathtaking struggle for air superiority. The pilots were heroes, but their planes? They were legends. Today, we're diving into the stories of 5 of the most iconic, game-changing fighter aircraft of the entire war. From the elegant Defender of Britain to the feared Samurai of the skies. These are the planes that ruled the air and shaped history. Let's start with the one, the only, the Supermarine Spitfire. If there's one aircraft that embodies the British fighting spirit, it's this one. When you hear the name Spitfire, you immediately think of the Battle of Britain, and for good reason. Designed by the brilliant R.J. Mitchell, the Spitfire wasn't just a plane, it was a work of art. Its most defining feature was its elliptical wing. This unique design wasn't just for looks. It provided incredible aerodynamic efficiency, allowing the Spitfire to outturn almost anything it came up against. Early models were armed with 8 303 Browning machine guns, creating a devastating wall of meat that could shred an enemy bomber in seconds. Pilots loved the Spitfire. It was responsive, agile, and frankly, beautiful to fly. It felt less like a machine and more like an extension of the pilot's own body. During the desperate summer of 1940, it was the Spitfire, alongside its rugged partner, the Hawker Hurricane, that stood against the full might of the German Luftwaffe. They were outnumbered, but they had the advantage of fighting over home turf and flying one of the best defensive fighters ever created. The Spitfire wasn't perfect, of course. Its early Merlin engines had a carburetor that could cut out during negative G maneuvers, a problem German pilots with their fuel-injected engines often exploited. But British ingenuity solved that, and the Spitfire was continuously upgraded throughout the war, serving in every theater from Europe to the Far East, its legend growing with every sortie. Now, let's cross the Atlantic to meet America's champion, the North American P-51 Mustang. This plane has a fascinating origin story. It was actually designed for the British, who needed a new fighter, and fast. The initial design was good, but it had one major flaw. Its Allison engine performed poorly at high altitudes. The plane was okay, but not great. Then came the stroke of genius. Someone had the brilliant idea to swap the Allison engine for the legendary Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, the same one that powered the Spitfire. The result? It was like putting a rocket on a race car. The P-51 Mustang was born. It was fast, it was deadly, and most importantly, had legs. With external drop tanks, the P-51 could fly incredible distances. This was the game changer. American heavy bombers like the B-17 Flying Fortress were flying deep into Germany, but they were being torn apart by German fighters because their escorts couldn't fly far enough to protect them. The Mustang changed all that. Suddenly, bomber crews had their little friends with them all the way to Berlin and back. The Mustang could outfly, outrun, and outfight the German defenders, sweeping the skies clear for the bombers. It completely shifted the balance of the air war over Europe, allowing the Allied bombing campaign to cripple Germany's war machine. Ask any B-17 pilot what the most beautiful sight in the world was, and they'd probably tell you it was a P-51 Mustang showing up, just when they needed it most. Of course, for every hero, there's a formidable adversary. Let's talk about the German workhorse, the Messerschmitt Bf 109. This was one of the most advanced fighters in the world when the war began. Designed by Willy Messerschmitt, the Bf 109 was a testament to German engineering. Lightweight, powerful, and built for speed. It was a pioneer of features that would become standard on later fighters, like an all-metal monocoque construction, a closed canopy, and retractable landing gear. Its Daimler-Benz engine was fuel-injected, giving it a key advantage over early Spitfires. As we mentioned, it could dive aggressively without the engine sputtering. The Bf-109E's primary strength was its boom and zoom capability. It had an excellent rate of climb and could dive incredibly fast. Pilots would climb high above their enemies, dive down at blistering speed, make a single devastating firing pass, and then use their speed to climb away and set up another attack. Its main armament was often a cannon firing through the propeller hub, along with machine guns, giving it a concentrated punch. The Bf-109 was produced in greater numbers than any other fighter aircraft in history and was flown by the highest scoring aces of all time. It was a deadly and respected opponent from the first day of the war to the last, constantly evolving to meet new threats. While it was eventually outclassed in some areas by planes like the late model Spitfires and the Mustang, a Bf-109 in the hands of an expert pilot was a threat to absolutely anyone. Now, we journey to the Pacific Theater to meet an aircraft that struck fear into the hearts of Allied pilots in the early years of the war. The Mitsubishi A6M Zero. When the Zero first appeared, it was a complete shock. Allied intelligence had massively underestimated Japanese aircraft technology. The Zero was a revelation. It was incredibly lightweight, which gave it almost unbelievable maneuverability and a phenomenal rate of climb. In a turning dogfight, a Zero could get on an opponent's tail with terrifying speed. It could outturn almost any Allied fighter of the time. Furthermore, the Zero had an astonishing range, far greater than anyone expected, allowing the Japanese Navy to project power across the vast Pacific Ocean. It was this range that made the attack on Pearl Harbor possible. Armed with two 20mm cannons and two machine guns, it packed a serious punch for such a light aircraft. But the Zero's greatest strengths were also its greatest weaknesses. To achieve that amazing performance, its designers had sacrificed everything else. The plane had virtually no armor protection for the pilot, and no self-sealing fuel tanks. This meant that while it was hard to hit, a few well-placed shots from an Allied fighter could cause it to explode or catch fire instantly. As the war went on and the Allies introduced more powerful planes like the F-6F Hellcat and F-4E Corsair, and developed tactics to counter the Zero's turning ability, the tables turned. But in the beginning, the Mitsubishi Zero was the undisputed king of the Pacific skies. Finally, we come back to Germany for our last aircraft, one that struck terror into Allied bomber crews, the Messerschmitt Me-262. This wasn't just another fighter. This was the future. The Me-262 was the world's first operational jet-powered fighter aircraft. Imagine being in a propeller-driven P-51, flying at your top speed, and suddenly seeing an enemy plane speed past you 100 miles per hour faster, with no propellers. It must have been mind-boggling. The speed of the Me-262 was its ultimate weapon. It was so fast that Allied pilots had to develop entirely new tactics just to have a chance against it. Armed with four powerful 30mm cannons in the nose, a single burst from a Me-262 could obliterate a heavy bomber. Its primary role became that of a bomber-destroyer, and it was terrifyingly effective. However, the Me-262 arrived too late, and in too few numbers to change the outcome of the war. The jet engines were unreliable and had a short lifespan, and the plane was extremely vulnerable during takeoff and landing when its speed advantage was gone. Allied pilots would often orbit German airfields, waiting to pounce on the jets as they were at their weakest. Despite its limited impact on the war's outcome, the Me-262 was a clear sign of things to come. It was a technological marvel that ushered in the jet age and set the stage for all of modern aerial combat. From the graceful Spitfire to the futuristic Me-262, these five aircraft weren't just machines of war. They were the pinnacle of engineering of their time, pushed to the absolute limit by the demands of combat. They represent the stories of courage, innovation, and sacrifice of the countless pilots, designers, and ground crews who built and flew them. Each one played a crucial role in the titanic struggle for the skies, a struggle that defined the course of the Second World War. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through aviation history. Which of these legendary planes is your favorite? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, if you're enjoying these awesome dives into the coolest machines ever made, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and tap that little bell icon. We'll see you in the next one.